Welcome back, Hollow Dwellers, where we dissect the minds of our favorite games. Today, we are taking a trip down the memory lane to take a look at Alice the Madness Returns, a sequel to the cult classic American McGee's Alice. This game promised to plunge us into a deeper and twisted broken Wonderland. But did it deliver the promise? Or was it a fall from grace? Alice the Madness Returns, a legend in its own right, or a letdown that couldn't escape the shadow of its predecessor? Join me, your host Jester, to explore the dark psychological depth of this Gothic fairy tale, examining the story, gameplay and lasting impacts. We will be looking at this game's science, psychology, philosophy and perspective as our style at Jester's Hollow. Before we even start, what do you think? Is Alice the Madness Returns a masterpiece of psychological horror or a repetitive ramp through a pretty but shallow world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share and hit the notification just so that you know that I have been awakened. So, fellow Hollow Dwellers, welcome back. First of all, I am totally sorry I had a little hiccup in the way. Well, today we are revisiting that game whose protagonist is fractured as its world and legacy. A game that beacons us with promise of dark, twisted fairy tale, a journey into the heart of madness itself. And we are talking about none other than Alice the Madness Returns. The original American McGee's Alice was a cult classic, a gothic reimagination of Lewis Carroll's work that captivated us with its dark beauty and tragic hero. So, when Madness Returns was announced, the hype was real, but question remains, over even a decade later, was it a worthy successor? Or did it just build upon the legend of the original? Or did it just let us down? Today, we are putting Alice Madness Returns on a stand on our Legend or Letdown series. We will be discussing its story, gameplay and psychological underpinning to see if it holds as a masterpiece of madness or is it just another mess. So, Hollow Dwellers, sharpen your vorpal blade and brew some tea. And let's take a tumble down the rabbit hole one more time. Let's start with the legend argument, shall we? And honestly, the best place to begin is with its world itself. Alice Madness Returns, without a doubt, is a visual and atmospheric triumph. The game's art direction is simply breathtaking, a masterful blend of whimsical and the grotesque. Each realm of Wonderland is a reflection of Alice's fractured psyche, a twisted mirror of our own trauma. From vibrant yet unnerving landscapes of Mad Hatter's domain to serene but fragile beauty of Vale of Tears, the world is a character in and of itself. The artist at Spicy Horse created a world that feels both familiar and alien, a place where line between dream and nightmare is constantly blurred. The enemy designs are equally brilliant, from menacing ruined creatures to the imposing doll-like automatons, for each foe is a manifestation of Alice's inner demons, the physical representation of her guilt, her fear, her rage. But a pretty world is nothing without a compelling story, is it? And that is where Alice the Madness Returns truly shines for many. The game picks up with Alice, a young woman now, living in Victorian London, still haunted by the fire that claimed her family. She is under the care of the psychiatrist Dr. Angus Bambe, who is using hypnotherapy to help her forget the traumatic past. Of course, this being a story about a girl named Alice, things are not as they seem. Her trips back to a now corrupted Wonderland are intertwined with her fragmented memories of fire, leading her to uncover dark conspiracy. The narrative is a masterclass on psychological storytelling, exploring themes like memory, guilt, trauma, and the long, arduous journey of healing. It's a detective story set in a landscape of subconscious, and it's a story that will stick with you long after the credit rolls. And what about the gameplay? Well, it's a solid hack and slash platformer with some unique twist. Her arsenal is a wonderfully macabre collection of weaponized toys. Her purple blade, her trusty kitchen knife, is as satisfying as ever. Her pepper grinder acts as like a Gatling gun. Her hobby horse is a powerful sledgehammer, and teapot cannon lobs explosive projectiles. Each weapon can be upgraded, adding a nice layer of progression. The platforming is equally engaging. With Alice's abilities like jump, float and shrink, they open up new paths, revealing hidden secrets. The shrinking mechanic in particular is a brilliant touch, allowing you to see the world from a different perspective to uncover invisible platforms and clues. It's a clever mechanic for how we must sometimes make ourselves small to see the hidden truths in our own lives. And then there's Historia mode. When Alice is close to death, she can enter a stage of heightened power, becoming invincible and dealing massive damage. It's a visual representation of her race and powerful tool for turning the tide of the battle. It's these kind of small touches that elevate the game from beyond a simple action platformer into the realm of the legends. Okay, I've been guessing a bit. But as much as I adore the game, it's not without its flaws. And for some, those flaws are so significant that they might knock it from the legend status and firmly put it into the letdown category. One of the most common criticism leveled at Alice the Madness Returns is its repetitive gameplay. While the combat is initially fun, it becomes a slog over its gameplay runtime. You will be fighting the same handful of enemies over and over again. While combat is competent, it lacks the depth of the other character action from the same era. The platforming too can start feeling drawn out. The levels are too long. While they are beautiful to look at, they often consist of basic platforming challenges repeated ad nauseam. There are moments of brilliance, but they are often spread by long stretches of uninspired filler. And then there are the controls. While not terrible, they can feel a bit clunky and imprecise at times, especially during the moments of demanding platforming sessions. The camera is a bit of nuisance, getting stuck at tight places and obscure your view at the worst possible moment. These issues, while not game-breaking, can lead to some frustrating deaths and distract from overall experience. The critical reception of the game was also decidedly mixed. While many critics praised the art style and story, they were often less enthusiastic about the gameplay. IGN gave it 6.5 out of 10, stating, "The gameplay just can't compare to impressive visuals." Eurogamer was even harsher, giving it 5 out of 10, calling it a game of diminishing returns. For many, Alice the Madness Returns is a case of style over substance. A game that is so beautiful with a compelling story that also is ultimately let down by its repetitive and uninspired gameplay. It's a game that you want to love, but it keeps pushing you away with its frustrating design choices. So, where does it leave us? Is Alice Madness Return a legend or a letdown? As most things in life, the answer is not so simple. It's not a perfect game, it has its flaws, but to dismiss it as a mere letdown would be to do it a disservice. Here at Jester's Hollow, we believe that a game's worth is not just measured by its mechanics, but by the idea it explores, the emotions it evokes. And in that regard, Alice the Madness Returns is a resounding success. It's a game that dares to tackle difficult subject matter with a level of maturity that is a nuance in all too rare in this medium. It's a story about the long, painful process of confronting one's own demons and the quiet strength it takes to heal. Alice's journey is not a glamorous one. It's a messy, painful, and filled with setbacks. But it's also a story of hope, testament, and resilience of a human spirit. The game's greatest strength is its ability to translate complex psychological concepts into the language of video games. The corrupted Wonderland is not just a pretty backdrop, it's the living, breathing manifestation of Alice's trauma. The enemies she fights are not just mindless monsters, they are personification of her guilt, her fear, her self-destructive tendencies. The character of Dr. Bombay is chillingly accurate portrayal of a gaslighting abuser, and Alice's ultimate triumph over him is not just a victory in a video game, but a powerful act of catharsis. So, is Alice the Madness Returns a legend or a letdown? For me, it's a flawed masterpiece, a legend with a few cracks on its armor. It's a game that I will continue to defend, not because it's perfect, but because it's important. It's a game that reminds us that even in the darkest times, there is always a glimmer of hope, a path to back to the light, and that my Hollow Dwellers is a story worth telling. But that's just my take. What do you think? Is Alice the Madness Returns a forgotten gem that deserves more love? Or is it a game that is better left in the past? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, even the ones that call me gibbering lunatic. If you enjoyed this little trip into the madness, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that little bell so you don't miss our next video. We got some more deep dives into the psychology of gaming coming your way very soon. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and don't be afraid of embracing your own inner madness. This is Jester signing out from the madness of the Wonderland.